She's going to jail forever. Wife's dead. I lost two.
Where's your mom at? Okay, stay right here.
No, there's so much blood. No, please.
What if the person crying for help was actually the one hiding the truth? A quiet neighborhood, a normal home, a family that from the outside looked completely ordinary, but on one day everything changed. It started with a phone call, a conversation that should have been routine, something simple, something forgettable, until suddenly it turned into panic. A voice began trembling, fear creeping in, and then without warning a scream cut through the line, sharp and terrifying, before everything went silent. Moments later, when the call was returned, someone answered, but something felt wrong. The voice didn't sound the same. It tried to sound calm, controlled, almost convincing, but there was something unsettling about it, something that didn't match. That moment would later become the first sign that this wasn't what it seemed, because inside that house a brutal crime had already taken place. When police arrived at the scene, they didn't know what to expect, but the moment they stepped inside, they knew this was serious. A woman lay on the kitchen floor covered in blood, the scene violent and chaotic, clear signs of a struggle surrounding her, and nearby, a weapon.
Hacker police! Hacker police! Where's your mom at? Okay, stay right here.
No, there's so much blood. No, please.
Man!
She's
Never.
in
Take her.
the corner now. No.
Stop!
We gotta figure out what's going on. Can you sit down?
R9, get that 32 rolling here quick. We got a female down, blood all over the place. Sergeant Smart, you just got a crime scene. Take her outside.
You got
She's there's blood all over. I don't even know if she's breathing. Secure the scene. She looks like a 22. She looks like she's been down for a while. There's blood all over the place. There's a knife by her head and stuff like that, and there's a huge pool of blood. No, I think she just walked in on it. There's a broken window in the back, so if you can just put up some crime scene tape. As soon as AFD gets here, they're going to pronounce her, I'm sure.
Standing in the house was her daughter, shaking, crying, barely able to speak, telling officers that someone had broken in, that an intruder had attacked her mother, that she had tried to help but it was too late. At first, it sounded believable, a home invasion, a random act of violence, but investigators follow one rule: trust the evidence, not the story, and almost immediately the evidence began raising questions. The back window was broken, which should have supported her claim, but it didn't, because the glass told a different story. There were signs that the damage happened after the attack, not before, which meant one thing: it wasn't an entry point, it was staged. Then there was the timeline, the phone call, the scream, the sudden silence, and the voice that answered afterward.
Come on. You just need to cooperate with me, all right?
I want my dad.
Huh?
I want my dad.
What happened? What's going on? What's going on?
We heard a bang. We heard a bang. And she told me to get out. And then I heard screaming. So I came back and she was on the ground.
Okay, you heard a
I ran
bang.
out back. There was a bang. Someone broken.
What is your name?
Sydney.
Are you cut?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you're cut
I
somewhere.
don't think so.
Yeah, your hand.
No, I was helping her. I grabbed her.
All right, stop.
I grabbed the knife.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I don't know. We just got
I'm the dad.
Okay,
Sydney.
what's-
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Investigators began to suspect that someone inside the house had tried to control the situation, to create a version of events that never actually happened. As the daughter continued speaking to police, her story started to shift, small inconsistencies appearing, details that didn't line up. She claimed she heard a noise, left the area, then came back to find her mother on the ground, but the physical evidence suggested otherwise. There was no sign of forced entry, no unknown footprints, no indication that anyone else had been there. Everything pointed inward, not outward. But the most difficult part of this case wasn't the evidence, it was what the evidence meant, because if there was no intruder, then who was responsible? As detectives dug deeper into the family's life, they discovered something unexpected: the daughter had been living a lie. To her parents, she appeared to be doing fine, attending school, moving forward with her life, but behind the scenes things were falling apart. She had been struggling academically and emotionally, and instead of asking for help, she hid it from everyone. The pressure built slowly, day by day, expectation after expectation, until eventually it became too much. Investigators believe the confrontation began as an argument, something personal, something emotional. What was said in that moment no one will ever fully know, but what happened next changed everything. The situation escalated, voices raised, tension turned into anger, and then into violence. The attack was sudden, brutal, uncontrolled, a moment where everything broke. When it was over, there was silence, a silence that couldn't be undone, and in that moment a decision was made, not to confess, not to call for help, but to cover it up. A plan formed quickly: make it look like a break-in, create confusion, buy time, and hope that no one would question it. But crime scenes don't lie. Blood patterns tell a story, injuries tell a story, and timelines never stay hidden. As investigators reconstructed the events, the truth became impossible to ignore. Every piece of evidence pointed to the same conclusion. When the father arrived, he believed he was walking into a tragedy, and he was, but not the one he expected. He saw the chaos, the fear, the aftermath, but he didn't yet know the truth, not about what really happened, and not about who was responsible.
Out a distress call from the University of Mount Union where my daughter was going, and said, female in distress. I said, well, that's funny because Brenda's there, my wife. So I called Brenda, and it rings and rings on the cell phone, no answer. I call Sydney back, rings and rings and rings, no answer. I call Brenda back, ring, no answer. I'm pacing around. I call Chief back, and as I'm on the phone with him, telling him there's no answer, my doctor calls me back and said, oh, Mom's on the phone with Mount Union. I said, well, cops are on the way. And she went, there's been a break-in, and she just started going off. She said, what? She said, there's been somebody broke into the house. There's blood everywhere. She was hysterical and crying.
So at first, when you talked to her, she said that your wife was on the phone with Mount Union.
Yes. And as soon as I said, cops are on the way, the hysterics started.
Is she still attending Mount Union?
Well, as far as we knew up until today, yes, but apparently not for the last, I don't know, maybe couple weeks.
Imagine that moment, standing there, trying to understand how everything went so wrong. Later, when detectives sat him down, they had to tell him what no parent should ever hear: that this wasn't a random act, that this wasn't an accident, that the person involved was his own daughter. At first, it didn't make sense, it couldn't, because some truths are too painful to accept. But the evidence was clear. There was no intruder, no mystery suspect, no alternate explanation. She was arrested, and as the case moved forward, a new claim emerged. She said she couldn't remember, that she had blacked out, that she didn't know what happened. It was a defense built on uncertainty, on doubt, on the idea that this wasn't intentional. But the prosecution saw it differently, because after the attack there were actions, decisions, steps taken to hide the truth, and that changed everything. In court, the details were laid out piece by piece: the timeline, the evidence, the inconsistencies, and in the end, the jury had to decide. Was this a moment of lost control, or something more? Their answer was clear. She was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. A case that started with a scream ended with silence.